You're listening to the Stoic Philosophy Podcast, practical wisdom for everyday life. I'm Justin Vacula, and this is episode 44, titled, Hold On to a Fraction of Your Sanity. Visit my website at justinvacula.com, where you can connect with me on social media and see past content on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. Support my work by becoming a donor through Patreon or PayPal. Share, comment, like, subscribe, and leave a review to help support my efforts and keep this project going. One major benefit of study and application of Stoic philosophy is how to handle adversity. We can take a proactive approach by strengthening our minds, improving our reasoning faculties to look at the world in a more realistic light, not jump to catastrophic conclusions, not create problems for ourselves, and we can call upon virtues like gratitude, acceptance, and courage to cope with hardships, and, as this podcast title notes, hold on to a fraction of our sanity amidst hardship. The band Cellar draws upon inspiration from Stoic philosophy in their album This Is the Sound. I've included some of their lyrics in previous episodes of this podcast and will, this time, focus on their song 6 Days, in which the main character seems to be unwelcome in any place he goes, without a home, seeing the world collapse around him. The song says, "The world it has vanished, all that's left are shards of stone, and one faithful man who hasn't yet let go. The universe swallowed every single thing he loved, and the planets don't know why he's holding on." We might experience significant events which may lead to depression, suffering, regret, and a multitude of intense negative emotions as our regular, comfortable station in life unexpectedly changes. Perhaps a loved one dies. A natural disaster happens. We lose a steady stream of income in a job we enjoyed, lose custody of children, or face an unexpected divorce or dissolution of a significant relationship. We can give up, commit suicide even, as some do when faced with significant changes in life, resort even to unhealthy coping mechanisms. But we can instead look to rebuild, take action, make changes, and accept inevitable chaos in life. The song continues, "Hold on to a fraction of your sanity. Hold on," seeming to encourage an attitude of resilience, getting through the more difficult times in life. Maybe we think that, in the moment, soon after a life-shaking event occurs, we can't prevail, that life is no longer worth living, that hope is absent from our lives. Instead, we can take a longer-range view of things, reflecting on progress we've made in the past, recall how we've bounced back from prior tragedy, accept that things in life won't always be rosy, and that the future can have lots of good in store for us. We can have a sense of optimism. We can tend to focus on the negative and feel helpless, but in doing so, we overlook the positives in our lives and adopt a self-defeating mindset, which can sabotage our contentment, our happiness. Stoic writers encourage us to be mindful of our thoughts and emotions, questioning what we think and feel, and even consulting with close, trusted friends who should be able to call attention to our deficiencies and help guide us along the rocky road that is life. In the final verse of the song, the 6th day mentioned in the music, our character seems to recover from loss in some way and stand strong amidst suffering. On the 6th day of nothing, salvation was announced. It rang aloud in his head only for him to hear, surrounding him vast nothingness, the punishments at halt, and all he could ask himself was, why did I hold on? In this case, the character found salvation. He was able to have a sort of contentment following loss, although still alone in the world it seems. Sometimes we might question our current predicament, not have support from others, and ultimately have to rely on ourselves for contentment rather than being propped up by others, as Stoics warn, not fully relying on others for happiness, lest we become too dependent and unable to thrive should others fade away for whatever reason or not be available at a specific time. Ideally, we can strive for a balance with our network of supports, to be helped by others, to offer help, and have a mutual, more balanced exchange of benefits. Although feeling lost after dealing with a crisis, we can emerge strong, form new goals in life, and reclaim meaning. We might have an idea of what we might want our lives to look like. We might center our lives around limited pictures of how we think we should live. But upon coming upon new information, having new experiences, we are often forced to reprioritize and find purpose in something new, especially following loss. Maybe we have envisioned a specific future, had hope that our plan would work for us, but we come to learn that we were led astray. This challenge is faced by many ending romantic relationships or failing to establish a relationship, noting all of the negatives which can come. Maybe they wanted companionship, communication, and contentment from a relationship, but only found ruin. That relationships became a drain, emotionally, physically, and on their time, that the other person did not have the same level of commitment, that they couldn't rely on a partner, that people they met were generally unreflective, immoderate, and never happy, regularly insisting their partners make changes and sacrifice when they happen to not adjust themselves. Maybe some element of betrayal transpired in cheating, not keeping promises, and general dishonesty. Many note marriages going south. They look at the high divorce rate, and they see that even the most seemingly compatible relationships dissolved and led to grim divorces, custody battles, after a honeymoon period, what seemed to be a great start. Why take these risks and dedicate considerable time, money, and resources to something so flimsy, they wonder. It's led many, specifically men, to forsake romantic relationships altogether and form large online communities under the banner of men going their own way, or MGTOW, looking to reinvent themselves, focus on new goals, stop pursuing romantic relationships, and seek fulfillment, valuing new things. Rather than remaining in a constant state of anger or rage, many have looked to move on with life, help others through sharing their insights and stories, and have a positive view about the future, although one goal or element of life was not what they had once thought it was. What can be, as the song 6 Days suggests, something to hold on to. We can imagine what we want our lives to be like, what we would like to accomplish, thinking realistically, what we would be able to probably accomplish if we put in required effort. Might we have exercise or health goals? Can we reduce our monthly expenses and make better financial decisions? What line of work can we pursue? What new opportunities can we find, especially if we dislike our current job? How can we be more socially involved and/or improve our social circles? Might we be able to more wisely spend our time? Can we have more order in our lives rather than week-to-week chaos and vast uncertainty? Stoic philosophy encourages us to evaluate our lives, question our focuses, and make changes for the better by improving our mindset and having the courage to reform, to put in the hard work which is needed, rather than things just happening to us. We can take a more active role in improving our current situation, our lives, working toward a better future in the present. Let's look to Stoic texts for parallels to the song 6 Days and Rebuilding, Overcoming Adversity. Seneca's letter, titled A Lesson to be Drawn from the Burning of Lyons, talks about a great, beautiful, famous colony which was destroyed by a great fire. In a time of peace, Seneca notes, this great place was ravished by fire. More damage was done than would take place in a war. A man heard about the fire and was distraught. Seneca writes, our friend Liberalis is now downcast, for he has just heard of the fire, which has wiped out the colony of Lyons. Such a calamity might upset anyone at all, not to speak a man who dearly loves his country. But this incident has served to make him inquire about the strength of his own character, which he has trained, I suppose, just to meet situations that he thought might cause him fear. Here we see that, like in the Cellar Darling song, events of grand scale, significant changes in life can lead us to deeply question ourselves and compel us to wonder how we can proceed. Such events, Stoics note, are inevitable in life. Life is not an affair free of conflict and stress. How can we make sense of what we call tragedies and remain strong even if an initial shock to the system is difficult to cope with? Seneca notes, it is the unexpected that puts the heaviest load on us. Strangeness adds to the weight of calamities, and every mortal feels the greater pain as a result of that which brings surprise. At first, coming face to face with unexpected stress may be most difficult. After some time away from it, and hopefully after processing the event, the first sting may fade, and although it may still be difficult to cope with, we may be more at ease, removed from the situation with time. Danger, change, and chaos may unexpectedly come at any time. Stability and calm will not last forever. It's a theme Seneca repeats throughout his letters, and this one specifically. We can have an attitude of acceptance in dealing with chaos, rather than lamenting the universe, things we cannot change, and being in a constant state of anger. We can have gratitude for the moments of what we might call good fortune, and be happy for efforts we have made to have a good life. Focus on things we can control, or mostly have control over, like our thoughts and actions, working to have more insight about ourselves, working to cultivate a more productive environment in which we can flourish, to remove negative influences in our lives where we can, and be aware of the possible stressors we can avoid. Seneca writes more on chance, how things can change, and calls on us to anticipate possible hardships so that we can be better equipped to handle them when they come. He notes, we should therefore reflect upon all contingencies and should fortify our minds against the evils which may possibly come: exile, the torture of disease, wars, shipwreck, We must think on these. Chance may tear you from your country, or your country from you, or may banish you to the desert. Let us place before our eyes, in its entirety, the nature of man's lot. And if we would not be overwhelmed, or even dazed, by these unwanted evils, as if they were novel, let us summon to our minds beforehand, not as great an evil as oftentimes happens, but the greatest evil that possibly can happen. We must reflect on fortune fully and completely. Here, Seneca calls for us to acknowledge the ups and downs in life, which can and probably will happen to us, this chaotic nature of life, saying yes, this or that was a possible occurrence, and this time, well, it just happened not to go the way I would want it to go. This is a fact of life. Things won't always occur the way we want. We won't always get what we want. Our expectations, especially when considering things outside our control, will not always be met. Hopefully this podcast is helpful for those facing some sort of crisis in life. You can hold on to a fraction of your sanity, even though the world around you may seem desolate and hopeless. You can establish a new path in life and bounce back from loss. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more content. Visit my website at justinvacula.com, where you can find links to my social media portals and see past content on SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, and Stitcher. Support my work by becoming a donor through Patreon or PayPal. Share, comment, like, subscribe, and leave a review to help support my efforts and keep this project going. Podcast music, used with permission, is brought to you by Phil Giordano's symphonic metal band, Fairyland. The song, titled Master of the Waves, is from their album Score to a New Beginning. Find more information in the show notes. Have a great day.